7 real-life cheat codes to fall asleep to. The debug mode of daily life. Imagine you're playing a video game you've played your whole life. You know the levels by heart, the enemies, the missions, the rules. But one day, by accident, you press a strange combination of buttons, and suddenly, something changes. A hidden menu appears. Wireframes, health bars, code. It's the debug mode, the secret layer behind the surface of the game. A space the developers use to test, tinker, and observe without consequence. Now, what if real life had something like that? A way to step out of the emotional swirl of everyday existence, to pause the inner noise, to see the mechanics of your mind without getting pulled in. In the world of neuroscience, there's a term for this ability: metacognition, the awareness of your own thoughts. It's like standing behind the curtain while the play continues on stage. Let's say you feel anger. Most people are angry, fully fused with the emotion. But the moment you name it, "I'm experiencing anger," you create distance. The fire is still there, but you're no longer inside the flames. You're watching from the outside. Buddhist monks describe this as watching the watcher, a kind of inner detachment that doesn't numb you, it frees you. Psychologists call it cognitive distancing. You stop identifying with every passing thought or feeling, like stepping off a wild horse and watching it run laps from the safety of the fence. This mental pivot changes everything. You go from being a character inside the story to something closer to the storyteller. Problems still exist, but their emotional claws retract. You become less reactive, not because you don't care, but because you're seeing with a wider lens. That little moment, "Oh, this is just a thought. This is just sadness. This is just the weather of my mind." It's the doorway to presence. And strangely, the more you notice, the more you control. You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf, or at least sit safely on the shore. So if that's the cheat code for your inner world, what about the outer one? Tasks, goals, time. Is there a glitch to help you actually start things, even when you don't feel like it? The 5-minute portal. Think of a moment when you really didn't want to do something. Study, exercise, clean your room. It felt like a mountain, but then you started, and 5 minutes in, something shifted. You were still tired, still bored, but now you were doing it. Somehow, the resistance had disappeared. It didn't require motivation. It just required momentum. This is the 5-minute rule, a psychological trick with profound power. Just start, but only promise yourself 5 minutes. Tell your brain, "I'll write for 5 minutes. Then I can stop." 9 times out of 10, you won't stop, because motion creates motivation. Action dissolves resistance. It's like lighting a match in the dark. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need enough light to take the first step. This trick reframes life's biggest obstacles. That book you want to write? That project you keep delaying? That conversation you're dreading? They're not really mountains. They're fog. Fog that clears the moment you walk into it. You don't need to feel like it. You need to begin, and the feeling follows. It's a portal. 5 minutes. That's all. Step through it, and everything changes. And if 5 minutes can reshape your willingness to act, what about reshaping time itself? Could you actually stretch or shrink it? Not in the world, but in your mind? Time isn't real. Remember summer as a child? Endless, expansive, like time was made of warm, golden syrup. But now, years slip past like pages in the wind. Weeks dissolve into blinks. Why? What happened to time? Here's the secret. Time doesn't just pass. It's constructed. Your brain assembles time from attention, memory, and novelty. When something is new, your brain logs more data. More memory frames get captured. Time feels full. But when life becomes routine, you stop noticing, and the brain stops recording. That's why 5 minutes waiting in line can feel eternal, but 5 hours watching a movie can vanish. This is why children experience time differently. Everything is new, novel, unpredictable. And it's why adults feel time speeding up. Life becomes repetitive, filtered, unnoticed. But there's a cheat code. Break the routine. Take a new route. Eat with your non-dominant hand. Pay attention to tiny things. The veins on a leaf, the sound of your footsteps, the way sunlight moves across your wall. Novelty stretches time. Attention deepens it. You can't stop the years, but you can feel them. If time is a perception, not a constant, what else might be? Could reality itself, what you see, feel, believe, be another layer waiting to be edited? The reality filter trick. Two people walk down the same street. One sees friendly faces, beautiful architecture, signs of progress. The other sees danger, decay, rudeness, threat. Same world, different filter. We think we see reality, but what we actually see is a version of it, filtered through beliefs, past experiences, fears, and expectations. Psychologists call them cognitive biases, mental shortcuts that help us survive, but distort the truth. But here's the powerful part. You can consciously adjust the filter. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? Or, what's the most generous interpretation of this moment? These questions don't deny pain. They expand possibility. Your reality isn't fixed. It's flexible. Change your lens, and the world bends with it. Optimism isn't delusion. It's a choice to see more options, more hope, more room to breathe. And when you live this way, life doesn't become perfect. It becomes livable. But sometimes, perception alone isn't enough. When anxiety hits, it doesn't ask for permission. So is there a way to defuse it? Right in the moment, like cutting a wire on a ticking bomb? The name it to tame it hack. Anxiety is sneaky. It doesn't always arrive as panic. Sometimes it's tight shoulders, an irritated tone, a racing heart. It hijacks the system before you even realize it's on board. But what if naming it is enough to calm it? Neuroscience calls this affect labeling. When you put your feelings into words, I'm feeling anxious. This is fear. Something remarkable happens in the brain. The prefrontal cortex, the reasoning center, lights up. The amygdala, the alarm system, quiets down. It's like translating a scream into a sentence. The chaos shrinks. You get space to breathe. This isn't about fixing emotions. It's about facing them. When you name your feeling, it becomes a thing, not the entire world. You're not anxious. You're experiencing anxiety, a wave you can ride, not an ocean to drown in. And that small space between you and it, that's where freedom lives. But what if the ultimate power isn't naming, controlling, or even hacking, but letting go entirely? The surrender loop. Try to fall asleep, and you'll stay awake. Try to relax, and tension rises. Some things can't be forced. But maybe that's the trick. This is the surrender loop. It's the paradox that letting go often gets you there faster than pushing forward. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's ceasing the internal war. When you stop resisting pain, it changes. When you stop clinging to thought, it drifts. This is the principle behind meditation, behind stoicism, even behind great performance. Flow doesn't come from force. It comes from trust. Letting go isn't failure. It's wisdom. Stop trying to fix your mind, and it settles. Stop trying to be peaceful, and peace finds you. In sleep, in love, in life. Surrender isn't defeat. It's the deepest form of alignment. And now, the final code, the one beneath all the others, the one that shifts your very identity, the observer code. Who are you? The thoughts in your head? The body you inhabit? The name you respond to? Or are you something else entirely? Every spiritual tradition, from Hinduism to Stoicism, whispers the same idea. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the observer of them, the still presence behind the chaos, the open sky beneath the storm. In therapy, this is called the observing self. In Buddhism, pure awareness. In philosophy, the logos. When you tap into it, something shifts. You stop reacting. You start witnessing. Life still moves. Emotions still rise. But you are the space in which they occur. And that space is untouchable. This is the final cheat code. Not to change the game, but to remember, you are never really trapped in it. As you drift into sleep tonight, remember, life isn't rigged. You're not lost. There are hidden mechanics, invisible doors, soft keys pressed in silence, waiting to be discovered. You've just learned 7 of them. The game still goes on. But now, you're not just playing. You're aware. Good night, Player 1. Rest well.